Hey everyone, engage the trade here. You can pause the video to read this, but today I'm going to teach you how to find the next low float runners. Market's been pretty wild lately. It's June 17th, 2020, and a lot of low floats such as ARTW, IDEX, IDYA. These things are going nuts, and tons of them are going. It's hard to decide which ones you want to do because they're all going. It's been fun, but it's also dangerous. So first off, just be careful out there. This is not how the market normally is. This is like a special treat for momentum traders, but it can also be a big trap for new traders. So what I want to do is just show you how to find the next ones, and just remind you along the way that most of these that are going up should not be going up this much, or be going up at all. A lot of them are junk companies, and you just got to be aware of that. Something like IDYA is actually a solid company that actually had good news, but most of these are not quality. So just be careful. So first thing I want to do is go over to FinViz, and this is how I find them. So if someone's tweeting them out that I follow and I see something that I like, then I'll put it on my watch list. I'll put some price alerts on it. And then I'll just move on with whatever else I was trading or watching. But after the market closes, I look at the after hours gainers, or I'll look at the news and start adding to my watch list for the next day. And I actually don't trade small cap stocks much anymore. It is what I learned on and what I used to do only. And I don't do them as much anymore, and so it's been kind of a fun thing to go back to them, and they're going so crazy right now that it's too good not to pass up. And so I've kind of gone back to the old ways that I've found them. So without further ado, here is the screener that I use. It's really simple. First thing I do is I go to FinViz and I click screener, and then I go to the float. And in this case, a lot of the low float stocks are what are going. And so I'm going to go under 20 million. So that's the first filter. And then I'm going to go over to the relative volume and put it at over 2. And then I'm also going to go over here to technical, and I'm going to do performance, and I'm going to have it show me any of the ones that are up 10% today. And you can do some other filters with this as well. You can do, stocks under a certain price. Actually, go back to descriptive. I'll do the stocks under 10. I'll do under $5, just to narrow down the list a little bit more. And so you can do all these other things if you want to tweak it to what you are more comfortable with. But that's the first thing I do. And then I come down and I just look at the ones that have a nice setup. So when I look at stuff like AFH and AAME, this is literally doing nothing. There's some life in AFH before, but it's really not doing anything before this day. I think AFH actually had some news this morning, and so in pre-market it had some action, and so that would be one I would watch the action in pre-market. But anyway, these are both ones that are going from pretty much 0 to 100. And so when it's like that, I might put it on my radar later, depending on what the intraday looks like. But it all depends on whether there was news or the intraday chart, how that looks. But more so, I'm going to scroll down and see some of these that are set up a little bit more to my liking. I usually try to look for ones that have a lower high forming. So there's a little bit of a base forming and a lower high, and then has already had a few spikes before, and then today just spiked up a little bit further. Or in some cases like BLIN, it had the base formed, did a flush out, and then came back. And then today was the first day of its rebound move. So it actually broke out to over $2 today, and that could be a good continuation one. So I might put that on my watch list for tomorrow. Some of these, if they pop up and they just sell off all day, I'm really not interested in those. It really depends on the news again, if there was any news. But you can tell this one's just very quiet based on the way that the chart candles are. And so this was just a one-day pop, and it could go more in the future, but it's not something I'm interested in. Going down here, I think DXF actually went in after hours. CLWT is a great one. So the other day, doing the search the other day, this would have popped up, and you could have seen how this higher low is forming. And so today would have been a great day to try to buy that breakout as you see the volume come in. Here's one I really like. This one's probably my favorite, but it's already going after hours. It already hit, I think, 160 or so. But here's the reason I like this. You do have this double bottom, but you have these spikes, and then they're consolidating at a new high or at a higher low, and then another spike, higher low, another spike. So it's showing you that this is consolidating and staying strong throughout that time period. And so as the momentum stays in the market for these low float stocks, these ones that are consolidating higher and higher are the ones that are more likely to give a more powerful, bigger move, which this did in after hours. So I'm actually going to be watching that to see how the intraday chart forms tomorrow. IEA was a good one today. Might watch that one on tomorrow, put it on my list. LEDS, this is actually one that has been around a long time with trading, and a lot of traders like this one. So this one has a history of going pretty big, and you can see how it's made this higher basing and then a big spike, and then it had this nice flag that it popped out of, and then it flushed out of that, but it still kept above this 250 area. And so you always want to see if things stay strong and form higher lows, and there's always a chance for it to continue as long as the momentum sticks around. So that's one I like. Here's another one I like where it's just consistently getting higher. It's not tanking back to new lows. It did look like it gapped down last week or so. And this is actually Kirkland's grocery, I think. But it broke out of over 180 today, and so this is actually a good potential continuation one. Now that it broke out over these recent highs, and it had this long process of making higher lows, and even withstood any big drops. So you want to see that kind of action building into these big moves. And so this might not move more tomorrow, but it's something I'll put on my watch list, and it might actually have 3, 4, 5 days of consolidation up here. And as long as it holds over 180 or 160 for that time, there might be another move in the future. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for in a nutshell. But I'm going to actually go down to the next page here and just keep going through. And as I find the ones that I like, I just add them to a watch list, which I've already done in Thinkorswim. And I just add them in there, and I set alerts for the prices that I want to be warned about or to be alerted on. And that's pretty much it. I put them in there, and if they go off, I look at it and I basically process, does this set up a good risk reward scenario? If so, then I might enter. I'll maybe do a starter position, or if it's a really good looking chart like IDEX today, on the break of 141 was really, really good looking chart. The volume kept pushing in, and so I went heavier right away on that one. But yeah, this is how you find them. PETZ, that's one that you can see recently had a big spike, and then it came and made this newer higher low, and then had another little spike today. So that's one to watch for continuation as well. Some of these, I just wanted to point out, there's a great follow on Twitter. And he does this every day. Sandman, he is one of the best traders of these small caps that I know. And he makes a simple watch list on FinViz, just really similar to the way I'm doing it. And then he just watches those, and he'll take in some more, but he watches those and then calls out where the breaks are. So if you're just learning, he's a great follow. He's an awesome guy, and great follow to kind of see where he's calling out spots for breakouts. You can see MNKD, that must have been yesterday. BLIN, which we saw on the search today. He was on that this morning and had great call outs for that. So IDEX as well. So he's a great trader, way better than me at this stuff, and who I learned from. He's been around for a long time. So follow him for that. Another person to follow is Beach Trades, Beach_trades. So he is really great at finding low float stocks. Pretty much that's all he does. He tweeted out FWP earlier, and it actually hit 8 after hours. He's kind of showing lists of different stocks. So some of these will come up in your searches, but if you see someone like him tweeting about them, it's no guarantee that it'll go, but you can kind of get more confidence because he's been doing this a long time as well. And following these kind of people can be really good when you're learning, because you can get kind of confidence boosts. And none of what they're tweeting out is financial advice or buy or sell recommendations, just like with me. But it's all really good follows to keep learning. So going back MLND. I thought Sandman had mentioned that one today. I think he did. And so that was another one that went. And then NVFY, I like this one a lot. It's coming up to that $2 mark, and so I might put this one on my list. I think I missed it earlier. And the shares, or the float, is really small. And this one's got some good volume. And so as you can see, the higher lows are forming. There's some good volume coming in lately. And then $2, all the big marks like $1, $1.50, $2, whole numbers, those are the marks where people are going to be watching, traders are going to be watching. And so the breaks through those often go a little bit more powerfully than the breaks maybe through a random number. And so that's a key level to watch with NVFY tomorrow. So this is laid back. I'm not obviously doing this too structured, but I just wanted to give you basically like you're in the chair next to me watching me as I do this. So you can get an idea for how I find this stuff. So here's another great one, XRF. See the spike before, made a higher low, continuing to get higher lows, accumulation of the spikes, but they're not spiking and then tanking like UONE did today. They're spiking and they're holding up higher. And so this one may have actually gone after hours as well, but that's a great setup. And then I like this SYPR. I like this setup through 90 maybe tomorrow. And so I would put that on my list as well. And then Sun W, I've traded this a lot back in the day. And yeah, it's making higher lows, and then a nice big candle today. And I don't know if it was news or if the solar sector has been going, but that's a good one to watch tomorrow for continuation, especially if the solar sector is hot right now, which I'm going to quickly check to see. Looks like it's not necessarily. Yeah. But there were a couple that went solar wise. So that's a lot of what I'll do too, is I'll find them and then I'll see which sector they're in. I posted on TikTok a video recently yesterday about the broadcast sector, and that's what the UONE, the NTN, those were all broadcasting in the broadcasting sector. And so I just found low floats in that sector and then was able to catch a little bit of the moves in SALM and BBGI. So that's what I do. And you can go in here and you can pick all of these if you want and set price alerts on all of them. But I just like the ones, personally, I just prefer the ones that have spiked and they have consolidated at those higher levels, just like this one here. That's what I'm looking for the most. And then I'm just looking for spots for breakouts and prices to put alerts in. So if you have any questions, you can comment below. And yeah, feel free to comment, ask anything, and I'd be happy to help. I'll be posting more videos like this in the future. about how I find some of the larger cap stocks for options, which is what I do mainly lately. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gives you some value. Thanks for watching.